Argentina's economic recovery in 2025, a comprehensive overview. Introduction. Argentina, one of Latin America's largest economies, is poised for a significant economic recovery in 2025, with forecasts indicating a real GDP growth of 5.5%. This resurgence is largely attributed to comprehensive economic policy adjustments made in 2024, coupled with a gradual restoration of social confidence. This report delves into the factors contributing to this recovery, the economic landscape of 2024, and the anticipated developments in 2025. Economic context leading to recovery. In 2023, Argentina faced numerous challenges, including macroeconomic imbalances and severe drought conditions that led to a contraction of 1.6% in GDP. The situation worsened in 2024 with an anticipated additional contraction of 3.5% as the nation implemented a stabilization plan aimed at addressing fiscal and external imbalances. However, the end of the recession in the second quarter of 2024 marked a turning point, with economic activity beginning to improve, especially in the third quarter. According to the BBVA Research Institute, Argentina's fiscal situation showed signs of stabilization, with the government expected to achieve a fiscal balance at the end of 2024 after 15 years of deficits. This was made possible through aggressive expenditure adjustments and a primary fiscal surplus of 1.7% of GDP despite declining revenues due to reduced economic activity. Inflation and monetary policy. Inflation has been a persistent issue in Argentina, projected to reach 120% in 2024. However, the government's monetary policy, characterized by stringent measures and a gradual crawling peg for the currency, has begun to yield results. By August 2024, monthly inflation rates had dropped significantly from a high of 25.5% in December 2023 to approximately 4.2%, indicating effective monetary control. The forecast for 2025 suggests a further reduction in inflation to around 35%. This improvement, combined with a commitment to maintaining a zero fiscal deficit, sets a solid foundation for economic recovery. Drivers of economic growth in 2025. The anticipated economic growth in 2025 will be driven primarily by private consumption and investment. The government's positive relationship with the Trump administration is expected to yield short-term benefits, potentially attracting foreign investment and enhancing trade relations. 1. Private consumption. As real wages begin to recover and social confidence improves, consumer spending is expected to rise, contributing significantly to GDP growth. 2. Investment. Increased investment, particularly in energy and agriculture, is crucial for revitalizing these sectors. Argentina's vast natural resources, including fertile lands and energy reserves, present significant opportunities for growth. 3. Agricultural recovery. Following the adverse weather conditions of 2023, improved climate conditions are expected to boost agricultural production. This recovery is vital for a country that relies heavily on agriculture as a major economic driver. For energy sector investments, Argentina has considerable potential in renewable energy and natural gas. Investments in these areas are expected to enhance energy production and contribute to economic stability. Social measures and government support. Recognizing the impact of economic hardships on the most vulnerable populations, the Argentine government implemented social protection measures in 2024. These measures included increases in social benefits such as the universal child allowance and food benefits, which were adjusted above inflation rates to support those most affected by economic challenges. The combination of fiscal discipline, social support, and improved monetary policy is expected to bolster social confidence, further aiding the economic recovery. Challenges ahead. Despite the optimistic outlook for 2025, Argentina faces several challenges that could impact its growth trajectory. 1. High inflation. While forecasts predict a decrease in inflation, maintaining control over price levels will be crucial to ensure sustainable growth. 2. Fiscal sustainability. Continuing to achieve fiscal balance will require ongoing commitment and effective policy implementation from the government. 3. International relations. The dynamics of Argentina's international relationships, especially with major trading partners and the IMF, will play a critical role in shaping economic prospects. 4. Global economic conditions. External factors including global economic trends and commodity prices will affect Argentina's recovery, particularly in agriculture and energy sectors. Conclusion. Argentina's anticipated economic recovery in 2025, marked by a projected GDP growth of 5.5%, reflects the effectiveness of the policies implemented in 2024 and the resilience of its economy. With improvements in fiscal balance, monetary policy, and social measures alongside recovery in private consumption and investment, the country is well positioned to navigate the challenges ahead. The foundation laid in 2024, combined with favorable climatic conditions and government support, suggests a positive outlook for Argentina's economic future. In 2025, Argentina is projected to achieve a notable economic recovery, with real GDP growth estimated at 5.5%. This expectation arises primarily from economic policy adjustments in 2024 and the restoration of social confidence. Counterintuitive points. 1. Fiscal balance after long deficits. Despite a history of 15 years of fiscal deficits, Argentina is anticipated to end 2024 with a balanced budget. This turnaround is surprising given the country's prior struggles with fiscal discipline. The government's aggressive expenditure adjustments, despite a drop in revenue due to economic contraction, suggest a significant shift in fiscal management. 2. Positive economic growth amid high inflation. The forecasted GDP growth of 5.5% in 2025 comes after a projected decline of 3.8% in 2024 and a staggering inflation rate of 120% during the same year. Typically, high inflation severely hampers economic growth, but the anticipated recovery indicates that other factors such as increased private consumption and investment are expected to outweigh inflationary pressures. 3. Social confidence and government support. The notion that society maintains support for the government amidst economic turmoil is counterintuitive. Typically, high inflation and economic contraction lead to public discontent and unrest. However, the analysis suggests that the government's policy adjustments and communication have fostered a renewed trust in governance. 4. Impact of external relations. The relationship between Argentina's government and the Trump administration is seen as potentially beneficial, which is surprising given the complexities of international relations and trade dynamics. It is counterintuitive to expect that a favorable diplomatic relationship, particularly with a former administration, would play a significant role in a country's economic recovery. 5. Agricultural recovery. Despite prior drought, the projected economic recovery in 2025 is partly attributed to improvements in climate and agricultural production after a severe drought in 2023 that caused a 26% decline in agriculture output. The resilience of the agricultural sector to rebound so quickly contrasts with the expectation that such a sharp decline would lead to prolonged economic challenges. 6. Disinflation process amidst high inflation. Although inflation is projected to be high in 2024, the expectation of a decrease to around 35% in 2025, driven by monetary tightening and exchange rate adjustments, is counterintuitive. Historically, transitioning from extremely high inflation rates to moderate levels often takes much longer and requires more drastic measures. 7. Private sector role in recovery. The anticipated recovery hinges significantly on private consumption and investment. This reliance on the private sector's responsiveness in a recovering economy is often underestimated, especially following a period of recession and high inflation. Typically, consumers and investors remain cautious during recovery phases, but the analysis suggests an optimistic outlook for private sector engagement. These counterintuitive elements highlight the complexity and unpredictability of economic recovery dynamics in Argentina, shedding light on how traditional economic theories might not fully explain the anticipated outcomes in this particular context. In the report regarding Argentina's economic outlook for 2025, several significant points are likely to be overlooked by the general audience. But understanding these details can provide deeper insights into the country's economic trajectory. Here are the key overlooked elements and their significance. 1. Fiscal balance and its historical context. While many readers might focus on the projected GDP growth of 5.5%, the fact that Argentina is expected to achieve fiscal balance for the first time in 15 years is monumental. This shift from a long-term deficit to a balanced budget is not just a numerical achievement, it represents a critical turning point in economic governance. Achieving a fiscal surplus, even if only a modest 1.7% of GDP, suggests that the government is beginning to rein in excessive spending and improve revenue collection despite a challenging economic environment. Significance: this fiscal discipline is crucial for restoring investor confidence and stabilizing the economy. A history of deficits often leads to higher borrowing costs, inflationary pressures, and economic instability. Therefore, achieving balance indicates the government's commitment to sustainable financial practices, which could lead to more robust economic growth in the future. 2. Inflation trajectory and monetary policy effectiveness. Another often overlooked point is the anticipated decline in inflation from an astounding 120% in 2024 to around 35% in 2025. While inflation remains high, the reduction signifies a successful disinflation strategy that may not be immediately apparent to the casual observer. The gradual normalization of monetary policy, including a crawling peg exchange rate, reflects a careful balancing act by the central bank. Significance: high inflation erodes purchasing power and savings, complicates business planning, and can lead to economic stagnation. The projected decrease in inflation, if realized, could lead to increased consumer confidence and spending, which are vital for economic recovery. Moreover, it could facilitate lower interest rates, encouraging investment and consumption. 3. Private consumption and investment as growth drivers. The report notes that the recovery in 2025 will heavily rely on private consumption and investment. While this may seem standard, the underlying dynamics are crucial. The recovery of real wages and improved consumer confidence are foundational for driving consumption, while investment growth may stem from both domestic and foreign sources encouraged by the government's fiscal and monetary reforms. Significance: understanding that private consumption and investment are key to growth reveals the interconnectedness of economic policies. It also highlights the importance of social stability and government support for vulnerable populations, as these factors contribute to a more stable consumer base. The positive relationship with the U.S. government, particularly under Donald Trump, could also pave the way for increased foreign investment, further amplifying the recovery. 4. Geopolitical context and international relations. The mention of Argentina's improved relations with the Trump administration may be dismissed as political noise, however, the economic implications are profound. A favorable relationship with a major global player like the U.S. can lead to increased trade opportunities, foreign investment, and access to international markets. Significance: geopolitical dynamics can significantly impact economic recovery, especially for a country like Argentina, which has historically faced external debt challenges and reliance on international support. Strengthened ties could provide the necessary external backing to bolster Argentina's economic reforms and growth trajectory. 5. Sectoral contributions to recovery. The report highlights improvements in sectors like energy and agriculture, which are crucial to Argentina's economy but may not receive enough attention. The expected recovery in agricultural production post-drought and investments in energy sectors are pivotal for the overall economic resurgence. Significance: Argentina's economy is heavily reliant on agriculture, and weather-related factors can dramatically affect GDP. Understanding the specific sectoral contributions helps in assessing the sustainability of the recovery. Moreover, a focus on energy investments indicates a strategic pivot toward modernizing critical sectors which could have long-term benefits for economic stability and growth. 6. Social protection measures. While the report touches upon social protection measures implemented to support vulnerable populations, the broader implications of these policies may go unnoticed. Increasing social benefits above inflation can foster a more resilient consumer base, which is essential during economic transitions. Significance: investing in social protection not only helps to alleviate immediate poverty but also builds human capital and consumer confidence in the long run. This can lead to a more stable and equitable recovery, which is particularly important in a country with a history of severe economic fluctuations and social unrest. 7. Long-term structural reforms. The emphasis on achieving a primary surplus and normalizing the foreign exchange market points to the necessity for long-term structural reforms. While the focus is often on short-term recovery indicators, these foundational changes are critical for sustained growth. Significance: structural reforms can lead to enhanced productivity, competitiveness, and economic resilience. They are essential for creating an environment conducive to sustained economic growth, attracting foreign investment, and improving the overall quality of life for citizens. Conclusion. In summary, while the expected 5.5% GDP growth in 2025 is a headline figure, the underlying elements such as fiscal balance, inflation management, private consumption, international relations, sectoral recovery, social protection measures, and the need for structural reforms are equally, if not more, significant. These factors collectively paint a picture of a country at a crossroads where the decisions made today can influence Argentina's economic trajectory for years to come. Understanding these nuances allows for a more comprehensive assessment of Argentina's economic prospects and the potential challenges it may face in its recovery journey. 1. Fiscal policy and economic stability. Argentina's anticipated economic recovery in 2025 is largely attributed to significant reforms in fiscal policy initiated in 2024. After 15 years of continuous fiscal deficits, the government aims to achieve fiscal balance with a projected primary surplus of 1.7% of GDP despite declining revenues due to economic contraction. This fiscal discipline sets the foundation for sustainable economic growth, as it reflects the government's commitment to improving its financial health and restoring investor confidence. The successful implementation of a stabilization program will be crucial in maintaining fiscal balance while navigating the challenges posed by high inflation and external economic pressures. 2. Inflation control and monetary policy. Inflation remains a critical concern for Argentina, with 2024 projected to see rates around 120%. However, the government's monetary policy, characterized by gradual tightening and a stable exchange rate regime, aims to bring inflation down to approximately 35% in 2025. The effectiveness of these monetary measures, particularly in the context of disinflation and the crawling peg exchange rate system, will be key in fostering economic recovery. The reduction in monthly inflation rates from 25.5% in December 2023 to 4.2% by August 2024 suggests that the measures are beginning to have a positive impact, which is vital for restoring public trust and stimulating economic activity. 3. Economic growth drivers. The forecasted 5.5% growth in real GDP for 2025 is expected to be driven mainly by private consumption and investment. The recovery in economic activity, which began in the second quarter of 2024, is bolstered by improving real wages and renewed consumer confidence. Additionally, favorable weather conditions and investments in key sectors, particularly energy and agriculture, are anticipated to enhance production capabilities. The government's positive relationship with the U.S. administration could also provide additional economic support, further facilitating this growth trajectory. Understanding the interplay between these growth drivers will be essential for sustaining momentum in the recovery. 4. Social measures and economic resilience. To mitigate the negative impacts of economic instability on vulnerable populations, the Argentine government has implemented social protection measures, including increased benefits for the most affected groups. These initiatives are critical for maintaining social stability and political support during the economic transition. The balance between fiscal consolidation and social welfare policies will be essential, as it not only addresses immediate humanitarian needs but also fosters long-term economic resilience. The positive feedback loop created by enhancing living standards among the most vulnerable can stimulate domestic demand, thereby supporting broader economic recovery efforts. 1. The post-World War II economic recovery in Germany 1948 to 1952. After World War II, Germany's economy was in shambles with hyperinflation and unemployment at unprecedented levels. The introduction of the Deutsche Mark in 1948 and the currency reform established monetary stability. The Marshall Plan, which provided extensive financial aid from the United States, played a crucial role in rebuilding infrastructure and industry. By 1952, West Germany experienced a remarkable economic recovery, achieving GDP growth rates of around 8 to 9% annually, leading to what is now termed the Wirtschaftswunder or economic miracle. 2. The economic recovery of Japan in the 1950s and 1960s. After World War II, Japan faced severe economic challenges, including the destruction of infrastructure and a devastated industrial base. In 1950, the government implemented a series of reforms that included land redistribution, investment in education, and the establishment of the Ministry of International Trade and Industry (MITI) to streamline industrial policy. By the mid-1950s, Japan began to experience rapid economic growth driven by exports and industrial expansion. By the 1960s, Japan's economy was growing at an average rate of about 10% per year, leading to its emergence as one of the world's largest economies. 3. The economic reforms and recovery in China in 1978 to 1990. In 1978, China initiated a series of economic reforms under Deng Xiaoping, transitioning from a centrally planned economy to a more market-oriented one. The introduction of the open door policy encouraged foreign investment and trade, leading to the establishment of special economic zones (SEZs). These reforms spurred unprecedented economic growth, with China's GDP growing at an average annual rate of around 10% throughout the 1980s. By 1990, China's economy was significantly more productive and integrated into the global economy, laying the foundation for its future status as the world's second-largest economy. In 2025, Argentina is projected to witness a significant economic recovery marked by a real GDP growth of 5.5%. This optimistic outlook stems from careful economic policy adjustments in 2024 and a resurgence of social confidence among the populace. Economic policy adjustments and fiscal balance. The groundwork for this recovery was laid in 2024 when Argentina successfully concluded a 15-year period of fiscal deficits, achieving a balanced budget by year-end. Despite a contraction in economic activity leading to decreased revenues, the government managed to implement aggressive expenditure adjustments, resulting in a primary fiscal surplus of 1.7% of GDP. As Argentina heads into 2025, the commitment to maintain a zero fiscal deficit is expected to bolster confidence in the economy. Inflation management and monetary policy. Although inflation in 2024 is anticipated to peak at an alarming 120%, the government's strategy of gradual monetary tightening and stable exchange rate adjustments is projected to bring inflation down to around 35% by 2025. This disinflationary process is critical for restoring purchasing power and consumer confidence, essential components for economic revitalization. Economic activity and consumer confidence. Following the end of a recession in the second quarter of 2024, economic activity has begun to show signs of recovery, with better-than-expected performance in the third quarter. Real wages have started to rebound, setting the stage for increased private consumption and investment. The anticipated GDP contraction of 3.8% in 2024 will be countered by robust growth in 2025, largely driven by these factors. Agricultural and energy sector recovery. Argentina's economy heavily relies on its vast natural resources, including fertile agricultural lands and significant energy reserves. The expected improvement in weather conditions and recovery in agricultural production, coupled with investments in the energy sector, will further stimulate the economy. Since Argentina is a leading food producer, the restoration of agricultural output is critical for overall economic health. International relations and external factors. The relationship between Argentina and the Trump administration in the United States is also expected to yield short-term economic benefits. This alignment could foster favorable trade conditions which may enhance Argentina's export capabilities, particularly in agriculture and energy. Social protection measures. The government has implemented various social protection initiatives aimed at uplifting vulnerable populations. These measures, which include increases in social benefits that outpace inflation, are designed to improve living standards and bolster domestic demand, thereby contributing to economic growth. Challenges ahead. Despite the positive outlook, Argentina faces several challenges that could impact its recovery trajectory. Maintaining fiscal balance and achieving a normalized foreign exchange market are critical goals. Additionally, high inflation remains a pressing concern, necessitating continued vigilance in monetary policy. Conclusion. In summary, Argentina is poised for a significant economic recovery in 2025, underpinned by effective fiscal policies, improved consumer confidence, and a rebound in agricultural and energy sectors. While challenges persist, the proactive measures taken in 2024, along with favorable external conditions, create a conducive environment for growth. The commitment to maintaining fiscal discipline and managing inflation will be vital as the country navigates this recovery phase.